Welcome back to Forza Horizon 4, guys. Recently, Forza Horizon 4 has had its first birthday. Time has really flown on by. However, as we've already had the first birthday, I think it's time we look ahead and into the future of what's to come for Forza, and that is Forza Horizon 5. Now, you might be saying, whoa, it's far too early to be talking about Forza Horizon 5. And I think that's totally untrue. If you want to have your voice heard, whether it be something small you want to get added or large, you need to do it while the developers are at the early stages of development, which is right now. Honestly, if anything, it might already be too late to have the developers change anything quite large for Forza Horizon 5. It's kind of crazy now how in advance developers are for their upcoming games, whether that be for Need for Speed, Forza, or Call of Duty even. If you have any suggestions for the next Forza Horizon game, let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to thumb up other people's comments as well, and maybe I'll do another video like this at some point in the future. Also, we always have to say this at the start of these videos, Forza Horizon 5 is not confirmed in any way. Do not take anything that I'm talking about in today's video as fact. We're just having a conversation. These are some of my ideas and your guys' ideas from our Discord server, which if you'd like to join, by the way, there's a link down below. With all of that out of the way, let's jump into our Forza Horizon 5 wish list. We're going to be talking about things like the map, the cars, the customization, the races, online, and a bunch more. So sit back and relax. This is going to be a really cool one. Let's start it off with the biggest thing of them all, the map. This is going to affect the entire vibe of the game, the atmosphere, the feeling. Everything you are going to do in the next Forza Horizon game is going to revolve around the map in some way. So let's start it off with the map size itself, and then we'll get into the location. So, firstly, you might have noticed that the map size for Forza Horizon 2, 3, and 4 are all pretty similar, and that's because we're currently at the limit for the Forza tech engine. It's currently optimized for this generation of console, which means although the Xbox One X and S, it's also optimized for the really old dinosaur Xbox One. When you're developing a Forza game, you need to make sure your game works for all of those consoles, and right now we are at the absolute limit of the map size. So although it sucks, if we want a bigger map for Forza Horizon, we need to drop the Xbox One support as a whole. That means Forza Horizon 5 would only be available for the PC and the Xbox Project Scarlet. That's currently set to come out next year. And I mean, if history tells us anything, the last time Forza Horizon had a game on two different consoles, things really didn't go that well with Forza Horizon 2, now did it? Nah, we'll just forget about that game ever existing. Anyways, long story short, if we want bigger maps, it needs to be on the latest hardware, which will be Project Scarlet and the PC. Anyways, about the map itself. Now, in this video, I don't want to talk about any locations in particular, whether it be Japan, Canada, Ireland, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I feel like every single location has just been spoken about so much already. There's nothing really new to add too much. However, there are some things that I did want to mention as particulars that I do want to see for the next map. For the next Forza Horizon game, the main thing I want to see in the world is diversity. So when you're driving from area to area, it doesn't feel all the same. So like forests, big rivers, sand dunes, beaches, big cities, mountains, just about everything. I would also like to see some key areas tossed in, like of course you've got your drift and rally roads, a big old airport as well to do drag racing on, a racetrack in the map is always super awesome, your playgrounds, game areas, whether it be like airports again, or like areas like the construction site or the timber yard from way back in the day. And of course you can't forget a big ol' highway to go and test your top speed. I think regardless of where the location is, you need something diverse where you can toss in a little bit of everything into the map, so there's at least something for everybody. Anyways, I think that's enough about the map. Let's talk about how you're actually going to be experiencing it. Most of the time, that's gonna be online. I think it's safe to say we definitely need more than 12 people in a lobby. I'm really hoping for a minimum of 16 people online, but I just want to see it cranked as high as it'll go. I want massive lobbies, massive amounts of people all playing together. Like, I just want to have insane car meets, insane cruises with huge amounts of people. That's what it's all about, having like your friends to drive with. Oh, also, I don't know how long we have to ask for this, but can we please change the time of day and the weather ourselves in the lobby, please? Also, I'm just saying, while you're at it, it would be super cool to force the entire like lobby that you're playing with to have damage on, to turn their maps off, to turn racing lines off and stuff like that. I think that would be so sick. Basically, long story short, giving us more control of how we play online and giving us more friends to play with is always a good thing. So obviously the map and online is pretty important, but at the end of the day, this is a car game. What cars do I want to see for the next Forza Horizon game? I can already hear you screaming at your monitor, Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Although Toyota has made some really great cars in the past, and although I would love to try out the new Supra in a Forza game, I'm just kind of bored with them. I don't know if it's just me, but Toyota is not a make or break situation. If they don't want to play ball, forget about it. They're not that important. I think there are far more important things that we should probably take a look at. For example, the car sound. Like, on one hand, it definitely makes sense. There are a lot of cars in Forza Horizon. The car sounds are never gonna be unique for each and every one of them. On the other hand, the car sounds in Forza Horizon have drastically decreased in quality since Horizon 1. There's just some cars out there that need a big fix for their engine sounds, to say the least. And if you think about it, in terms of real cars, car noise and car sound is one of the most important things. When somebody goes out and gets a new car, what's the first thing they think about changing? It's the exhaust to make it sound a little bit better. And finally, not to mention, Discord was also super passionate about this every single time I was asking them for suggestions. Convertible car roofs. Having a button to manually control your convertible roof would be awesome. The animations are already in Forza Horizon 4 for some of the cars. It would just be really cool to have it mapped to a button so we could control them. I think that leads really nicely into my next point, making your car feel like your car and giving you more control. So now I know I've posted a bunch of Need for Speed Heat videos recently, and I don't want to compare Forza to that. Forza will never be Need for Speed in terms of customization. However, I think we can get a little closer. For example, Need for Speed is adding things that Forza's only had in recent years, like engine swaps, for example. Looking into the future, could Forza start to add things that Need for Speed and other games have? For example, things like window decals, more wide body kits, exhaust tuning's a big one, air suspension. Like I've said before, any single way you can give people more control over the game and more control over their car to make your car feel more like your car is always gonna be a win. Anyways, at the end of the day, this is a car game, and most of the time you are going to be racing. So let's talk about Forza Horizon 5 racing. I must be honest, I absolutely love the addition of custom races. However, two little changes I want to make. One, you're already able to make your own race course, so why can't you go in and make your own drift circuit? All the elements are already there in the game to allow us to do it. It's just a feature that's not in yet. I hope for the next Forza game that could be tossed in along with number 2, the ability when you're making those custom races to have more control over them. By example, adding props. Say you want to put some lights around a corner or big arrows to tell people that there's a hard corner coming up. That would be really awesome. Or for example, you want to build like a race for trophy trucks. You start adding in some big ramps to toss in some jumps. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about when I say more control. Both of those would be awesome. But what about the races themselves and the progression throughout the entire game, you might ask? You might have seen recently I jumped into Test Drive Unlimited 2 and I did a video all about that. What if Forza Horizon had similar progression to that? For example, you could still get the cars the same way you get them now, although I will be honest, you get a lot of money really quickly, maybe too quickly and sometimes. However, what if you had tutorials or driver's licenses the same way GT Sport does? Say you could go out into free roam and drive any car you want. However, if you wanted to do races in A-Class, you had to do an A-Class license that would teach you particular things. This would, one, not only be a way to have people play through the game a little bit more and not be handed everything right from the start, but it would also teach people how to control higher horsepower cars a little bit better. So hopefully we could have cleaner races online. However, I think those tutorials need to be properly hard. It needs to be challenging. You need to practice at it. It can't just be handed to you. However, I think if you combine all of these things, like a really, really great map, some very cool cars that are all built by you with the best customization, you're driving them in your perfect weather conditions with a bunch of your friends, and you're all good drivers, I think you've got a recipe for a great game. Those are my thoughts for the next Forza Horizon game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Obviously, still, we've got a bunch of time before the next Forza Horizon game comes out. It's about 2 years away still, so stay tuned for that one. However, like I was saying, if you want to make your thoughts heard and your feedback heard, now is the time you gotta do it. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to hear. Until next time, though, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you guys soon with some more Forza Horizon gameplay. See you guys then. Bye!